like to welcome you to Audio Suplex Live, Episode 3, brought to you by the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
You really John Bradshaw Layfield that one, Corey.
I literally, right before we started, I was like, I'm going to mess this up. I know it.
Making his way to the ring, tripping over his own 2 feet.
Oh, jeez.
Heel Corey Reister.
It's not that bad. That's me. I'm Heel Corey.
And I am Dr. Travis, Dr. T. Travis, the co-host with the most.
Oh, we got some audio.
Heartbreak Kid Mike Cox.
Mike.
My bad.
Jeez.
Such a fan of the show that Mike actually watches it while we record it. So.
Yeah. He's just making sure he's keeping notes.
Pretty good, man.
Son. Make sure you pop on the streets.
Oh, man. How have you been, Corey?
I have been good.
Good,
Been not too bad.
Yourself, Mike?
I'm all right.
All right. I think we got a good show this week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we get to go over the Elimination Chamber, which will be exciting.
Yep. We're gonna do our recaps of Raw and SmackDown Live.
Yeah. We're gonna touch on 205.
Yeah, and
we'll and then we obviously got some news.
Yeah.
To start off. That's
So,
our layout. Let's just jump into it, guys. No need to wait. Let's do our news segment. What do you think?
I think
We sure can.
Well, the first bit of news, Audio Suplex Live's clearly still in the infancy stages.
Oh.
We're still kind of working out some of the kinks, and we'll get some better timing with that dropping.
I think that we should keep that timing. I like that.
Can we try that one more time? Hold on. Hey, Joe, can we do some news?
Let's do some news. Yes. Shit, I shouldn't have said, I like that time. Maybe a little quicker next time.
All right.
Get into it, Travis. Tell us about the news.
Cool. So our first bit of news this week is Teddy Long has been announced by WWE as the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's reported by FoxSports.com on Monday. Obviously, everybody here remembers Teddy Long as the long-tenured general manager of SmackDown after the brand split from 2004 to 2008. Major contributions to the wrestling industry outside of that, though. He was known as a referee for periods of time through WCW and Jim Crockett Promotions, and then at one point WWF, and also managed a lot of singles competitors and tag teams as well. So
yeah, I remember him being a referee.
Yeah,
and then when he became the general manager, I'm like, why is that referee the general manager?
Yeah, I think WWE is pretty much 3 for 3 on their Hall of Fame inductions this year. Like those are 3 really deserving, because you have now Kurt Angle, who's like headlining the class.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Express.
Yep.
And then the Teddy Long.
The Teddy Long. That's right.
That's
not to be confused with the Brian Kendrick. He's the Teddy Long.
The Teddy Long.
The consummate player. So, has anybody else noticed, since we're on the Teddy Long subject, that the Undertaker thing has become like a meme? The Teddy Long, for that player, we're gonna have a match with the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Twitter meme now.
Stephanie's attempt.
Yeah,
it's just the world we live in.
Right.
Corey, what's your take on Teddy Long going in?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think he's deserving. It was bound to happen, I suppose.
Yeah.
I didn't follow him back when he was a manager in WCW, so I don't know any of that. But
has pretty good success as a manager. Probably most notably, he managed the tag team of Doom, who were world tag team champions for WCW at one point, which is Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. Ron Simmons obviously going on to become Farouk, and one of the most decorated tag team wrestlers of all time. So, and with the Nation of Domination and obviously the APA.
Yeah, he was with John Bradshaw Layfield.
Indeed.
You're a Patronus.
Can't go wrong there.
Mike, what do you think?
It's Black History Month, so it's pretty lit.
Yeah, no, it's and you know what though, I don't think Teddy Long's contributions to WWE, especially for like a more modern viewer, cannot be.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, he did a good job when he was on SmackDown for his position. So I can't.
He's a
be mad at it.
good general manager. He appease the fans,
indeed,
as opposed to the evil heel GM
right
that they could have had.
So I have no issues.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, moving on from one Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer, it was reported on earlier this week that HBO and WWE are teaming up on a documentary about the life and times of Andre the Giant.
This will be good.
This will be super good. Bill Simmons, co-creator of ESPN's 30 for 30, will serve as an executive producer and tweeted out something about him being incredibly excited about the project. Definitely looks like it's got some promise, especially with somebody like Bill Simmons at the helm.
Yeah.
Kind of steering the ship on that one. So
hopefully they start doing more of these.
Yeah.
I feel like they do a good
It's
job.
long overdue for Andre the Giant.
Yeah. And I think... Go ahead, Corey.
I was just saying, I think WWE's probably done a video DVD that you could buy on Andre the Giant, right? They had to have done something.
Yeah. This is gonna. They did mention that there's gonna be never before seen footage and behind the scenes footage of his career and what have you, and kind of go more into like the personal life of him. But yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see when that comes out. Kind of see what what that's looking like. So
exciting news.
All right. So another little bit of news. Fighting with My Family, the Paige biopic, being co-produced by The Rock's company and WWE, announcing another casting. Vince Vaughn, the
legend,
comedy staple, will be joining the cast. Now they haven't officially announced what role Vince Vaughn will be playing in the film, but it has been hinted. There's speculation that, and these are a direct quote, Vaughn will play the role of a big name from the 80s that, quote unquote, squandered his money and opportunities because he didn't have the capacity to handle his fame.
That's right.
Mike, when you hear of a 80s star that squandered his money and opportunities, who do you think Vince Vaughn?
I was born in '88.
So was I. Jake the Snake.
If only there was
Jake the Snake Roberts.
I saw y'all said that in
Jake the Snake
in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake. That's what I mean. I didn't come up with that all on my own. I did read that somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, that does make sense.
It would make sense. And it's kind of prevalent now with Jake the Snake kind of being on like the collective consciousness lately with like the resurrection of Jake the Snake being.
He has recently been resurrected. That's correct.
Which, have you watched that?
Big news. Oh yeah, it's great.
Very good.
It's the longest DDP commercial you'll ever watch for his yoga, but it's good. It's good.
I actually loved it. I watched it for the first time the other night, and it is honestly like a almost 2 hour long,
which is all right.
Yoga
I mean,
commercial.
I've been up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watched an hour and a half of advertisements then, and this is way better than that. So,
right.
Informative.
All right. Well, moving forward into a little bit of downside news. Darren Young, who was made great again at the latter part of 2016.
Thanks to Bob Backlund.
Thank you to Bob Backlund.
Many shout-outs.
Is going to be out for roughly 6 months after suffering an injury at a main event taping in January. It was reported by Dave Meltzer from
the Wrestling Observer.
This week. The match was during a 116 taping a main event.
Did you see the video?
I did not.
Yeah, I sent you the article. There's a video on there. He gets backdropped on the apron and his arm lands, the elbow lands on the outside and it bends backwards, pretty gnarly. And then he holds it. They stop the match, like they didn't even try to finish it real quick. He was donezo. Did not look good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's kind of a really bad snag. You could almost guarantee that there was some sort of maybe like, at least like a Rumble entry or something like that on his horizon.
Maybe. I mean, him being off TV might be good because maybe he'll come back with a different gimmick.
True.
Yeah, because I don't know. They're saying 6 months, right? So
that's kind of enough time for.
I mean, yeah, he could. The Bob Backlund thing.
It was kind of dope. Picked up a little bit of steam.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of fell flat once it kind of got out the gate a little bit, but. We wish Darren Young.
I'm pretty sure they can find another legend who's sitting around to put with Darren.
Either way, we wish Darren Young a quick and speedy recovery.
Yes, heal up.
Heal up. Let's get Darren Young great again.
Even greater.
Again.
again. Double again.
So moving from Darren Young.
More good news.
Who has been at the bottom of the card for a while to somebody who is now finding himself at the top of the card.
The tip top.
Brock Lesnar officially announcing his retirement from mixed martial arts.
Wow.
Yeah. It's reported on 214 at MMAfighting.com. Brock Lesnar's profile has been removed from UFC, and he has informed the UFC that he does not intend to return back to mixed martial arts. This actually coming on the heels of his match at, what was it? I can't remember.
200?
200, I believe it was, basically being nullified and
Right.
being ruled a no contest because of his
I'm sure he had
testing
to pay money
positive for
back.
banned substances. Now, he was actually supposed to serve a year suspension based on that. And an interesting note, he would be able to return to MMA and unretire, but he would have to serve the rest of his sentence for his suspension from when he was back.
So he could have waited a year to retire and then would have been fine.
Right.
Yeah, and he actually would have been eligible to return to MMA this coming July.
Yeah.
So pretty cool, like
Quickly.
Yeah.
Well, he would be starting training soon if
Yeah.
that were the case, if
Right.
he was going to come back.
So let me ask you, Mike, what do you think the implications are of this for Brock Lesnar's future in the WWE? Now, obviously, he's not focusing on MMA. Do you think he comes back to WWE in a more full-time capacity, or do you think...
Maybe an extra week, because Brock just like to wrestle and chill, wrestle and chill. So maybe add 2 weeks.
I don't think so.
You think so, Corey?
No, I think he'll have the same schedule. He likes the paychecks he's getting. Show up 5 times a year.
Right.
And get a gazillion.
He doesn't even have to
from Vince.
wrestle.
Right.
Occasionally kill the occasional Heath Slater, and then...
Yeah, he makes more in one night, just not even wrestling, just showing up than I do in a whole year. So
Unreal.
Not even doing a promo.
right,
Paul
he
is
just
doing the whole
stands
promo.
next to Paul Heyman
Right.
for 5 minutes.
Literally.
A little bit of an update to a story that we reported 2 episodes ago on the inaugural Audio Suplex Live. Lucha Underground coming to Netflix still, but it has been formally addressed by Lucha Underground. Dorian Rodon, GM of Lucha Libre FMV, confirmed via Twitter that it's actually going to be premiering on the Netflix streaming service in spring 2017 with no formal date announced.
Which will still be soon.
Yeah.
Just kind of a disappointment. They waited till right before it was supposed to launch to say, "Oh,
Right.
we're not ready yet."
And this actually may work out pretty I want to say better for Lucha Underground, because they're on like a mid-season hiatus and they have new episodes premiering in summer.
Mm-hmm.
So being fresher and closer to those new episodes might actually play into their favor.
Yeah.
So and then a little bit of Lucha Underground related news, and probably the saddest news of the week. Was reported last Saturday night that Chavo Guerrero Sr., who was actually involved in the inaugural episode and season of Lucha Underground, passed away at age 68. So it's the oldest of 4 brothers, Mondo, Hector, and of course, obviously WWE Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero, and the father of Chavo Guerrero Jr., who, obviously WWE staple for quite some time.
Yeah. And Lucha Underground.
And Lucha Underground staple as well. Former 2-time NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, and then the oldest WWE Cruiserweight Champion in the inaugural run of the belt when he had his run in the company as Chavo Classic.
Yeah.
15-time champion in the NWA Hollywood territory. We had a infamous feud with Roddy Piper for the belt.
He's not in the Hall of Fame.
No, probably not WWE Hall of Fame, nor do I think that they'll do the knee-jerk induction, even though I do think he is
Qualified?
I would argue that he's qualified. He has an impact on the business, and
Yeah.
only because of the respect for the Guerrero family name.
Yeah.
Obviously Father Gory Guerrero.
Maybe they'll do the whole Guerrero family at some point.
Yeah, and that
That'd be
wouldn't
lit.
shock me.
Doesn't shock me at all either.
Yeah, but incredibly sad news. Chavo Guerrero Sr. cannot be overstated on his impact, especially on like lucha style wrestling and a lot of young careers too. A lot of wrestlers reaching out on Twitter, offering their condolences to Chavo and the Guerrero family. So,
do you know how long he was on Lucha Underground? Just for
I'm pretty sure, and it's been a while since I've watched it, but I'm pretty sure it was just the first season, maybe a few episodes. But that was his last TV appearance.
Well, that'll be
angle.
interesting now that it'll be on Netflix.
Yeah,
Because that'll be a reason for people to watch too.
Yeah,
maybe
Bring some
if you're a
people back.
Chavo fan.
right. All right, cool. So that about sums up all the news this week. Corey,
What an exciting beginning to the show.
yeah. Well, what do you got for us from Sunday from Elimination Chamber?
Sunday was Elimination Chamber.
It was.
It was. Did you all watch?
We did.
Assuming you did. We didn't actually hang out like we normally do and watch it at your house, so I had to watch it on my phone for a while. Then I finally got home and could watch it on the TV.
It's always weird watching because Corey and I have a group of friends that get together and watch wrestling shows. Mike would join us, but he lives a little further away from the rest of us. But it's always weird watching the pay-per-views that we don't watch together, but also knowing that the other guys are probably watching it
doing
at
the
same
same
time.
thing. We're just all watching it at home.
Right, as opposed
Instead
to
of
my living room.
instead of leaning over and saying
That's
what
why I
we want
was
to say.
scared to text you that the Prince tribute was on. He's watching wrestling. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it would have been
from the Grammys on Sunday. So anyway,
all right. Well, let's move into what happened on the Elimination Chamber.
Hell of a show.
Yeah, it was actually pretty decent. I thought it was all right, especially the end of the card is really good. Pre-show, Mojo Rawley versus Kurt Hawkins, thrown together very last minute. No surprise, Mojo Rawley wins. Well, maybe not that big of a surprise or not, but I don't think Kurt Hawkins has won a match since he's been on SmackDown. So that was our pre-show match, pretty underwhelming. The opening match of the actual card would be Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. It was an all right match. I know we did our predictions. I thought that Mickie James would pick up a win on her first pay-per-view. That did not happen. Becky Lynch won.
And see, I disagree
with a roll-up with a schoolboy.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, a schoolgirl. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was kind of a lame ending. But I guess it makes Mickie look not as weak because she was kind of off guard.
That was kind of my logic, was that they're bringing Mickie James in the same way that they kind of brought Chris Jericho in on Raw, which is to kind of enhance and put over this younger talent.
Yeah.
So you have I wouldn't be surprised to see when this Becky feud is over to put her in a program with Naomi, or to put her in a program with another kind of maybe a debuting Asuka or something like that.
She's going to need to win at some point.
Yeah.
She can't just lose every match, because then her putting over this younger talent doesn't really mean anything.
Right. And you can only coast off of the pedigree of being a former...
Yeah, and you got to think how many of these fans were fans when Mickie was here the first time.
Right.
I'm sure there was a good number, but there's a ton of new fans, especially with the network available now. So, moving on after that, match number 3 of the night, Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews and Kalisto. This match was interesting setup for a match, I guess. It's kind of a lose-lose creatively. Either way, Apollo Crews came out. Kalisto was making his entrance, and Dolph Ziggler interrupted and threw him into the screen behind the entrance ramp. So that pretty much took Kalisto out of the match. Dolph and Apollo Crews decided to have a one-on-one match that went on for a little bit until Kalisto came back out, limping back out to the ring, and helped Apollo Crews pick up the win. But after the match was probably the more interesting part of the whole thing. Dolph attacked them both with a chair and tried to break Apollo Crews' leg, or his ankle, I should say, with a chair. Very heel thing to do.
Yeah. This match kind of took, it took me out of it very quickly. I was bought in when Ziggler attacked Kalisto at the ramp. And I was like,
make it a one-on-one match.
Because you're not going anywhere with Kalisto. You could at least maybe salvage something out of this thrown together feud and maybe try to get Apollo Crews over in the process. Good luck with that.
Right.
But they didn't, having Kalisto come back in, and then it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this.
Kind of a muddled mess.
I mean, after the match, the attack progresses Ziggler's heel, full-on evil heel guy. I understand that, but you had Apollo Crews and Kalisto get the win, but you still ended up burying him anyways, because after the match they got destroyed. So you really didn't help anybody at all in this situation. After that, they had the Tag Team Turmoil match. So essentially the gauntlet-style tag team match. Started out things was Heath Slater and Rhino taking on Breezango. These are pretty quick matches. They knocked out Breezango, so Heath Slater and Rhino moved on to take on the Vaudevillains. They were able to take care of the Vaudevillains. Then the Usos came out.
Quick time, too.
Both of them were. The Vaudevillains, I think, were a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Breezango looked all right. Vaudevillains was a little quicker. The Usos came out and made fairly quick work of Slater and Rhino.
Yeah.
They had already wrestled 2 matches.
And we had already talked about how the Usos are really the only tangible threat in the SmackDown Tag Team division. So.
And they show it here in just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
So then the Usos, they defeated Slater and Rhino. American Alpha is next. So we got the champions versus, like you just said, really the only team that could beat them realistically. And the Usos lose. But after that, they attack American Alpha, beat them up outside the ring, kind of hit a couple moves, really lay waste to the team. So, you almost think, is Ascension going to win? Because they're the last team. Ascension comes out. They actually looked really good. I thought Ascension.
Yeah.
The last two times I've seen them wrestle has been really decent. Hopefully they can figure something out that's not too crazy and over the top for these characters.
I mean, I knew in my heart of hearts that they weren't going to put the belts on the Ascension.
Right. It just doesn't make sense yet.
It almost
making them look good.
See, and I kind of disagree because I feel like, you kind of saw it later in the night where a similar situation happened in the Elimination Chamber where somebody kind of lays waste to an opponent and somebody else capitalizes and take an advantage. If you were to ever like pull the trigger on like a swerve and put the belts on the Ascension, that would have been it because it kind of made them look weak that they couldn't capitalize on the fact that the Usos basically just handed them the belts on a plate and couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't. Overall quality of the match, though, I thought they looked better.
It is good to see them getting some stuff in outside of the occasional, 12-man tag match or pre-show
or a squash match. Where they lose very quickly.
Yeah, and I would like to see them elevated to like maybe that second or third level team on SmackDown Live. Lord knows it probably wouldn't take a whole lot to get them to that point.
They're probably already pretty close to that slot.
Yeah,
I think they're all tied for fourth.
Kind
of
a
other
steep
teams.
drop after
off the top two.
Yeah, after top two.
Maybe put Slater and Rhino probably number 3.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, it was cool to see them get their stuff in, but also in the same sense, I almost would have liked to see them just go full go. And
that would be great.
Pull the trigger, and just let the heel team capitalize, and then you build a program out of that.
The only problem with that is, do you want Ascension in your tag champs going into WrestleMania?
Well, yes and no. You have the accolade of them being the longest reigning NXT champions, and you can obviously whoop that up and kind of work that into the narrative.
Yeah.
They've been proven to be a good team before. They just really, really got off track.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't.
I think we're going to see some more out of them.
Yeah, and I agree.
I mean, they put them in that spot for a reason, I think. Either way, American Alpha are your winners, if we didn't spoil that already. Very simple. They celebrate. Next match was the most disappointing match, I think, of the night. Nikki Bella versus Natalya. Should be the end of this feud that's been going on since Survivor Series, and ended in a double countout, which was exciting. And I think the only good thing to come out of this was after that, they were fighting in the back, and the whole Maurice thing happened with getting covered in powder, potentially setting up a WrestleMania moment. And I love that as soon as that match ended, the double count out, JBL something like, "Oh, this is far from over, this feud."
So I'm really big into YouTuber Brian Zane, Wrestling with Regret.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of said it best when he said, "I'm so sick of this feud, but at the same time, they put on such a good match at Elimination Chamber that I really want to see the resolution of it still."
They should have ended it. They had their chance. You had a good match. Just have a winner. I don't know if they're afraid. Nikki's going to win this feud.
I'm going to give them another. If they don't end it next week, which we'll get into with SmackDown, but if they don't end it next week, I'm officially pulling the plug on all coverage of this feud until further notice.
Yeah, it's just too long to be covering this.
We'll replace the time that we would have spent talking about this feud with, I don't know,
anything else.
Yeah,
literally anything.
20 seconds of me sighing, because that's all you're going to really get out of our analysis anyway.
That'd probably be more.
Put the clip of
this is not this is not an indication of Nikki or Natalya as workers. Although I think I've seen better mic work out of the both of them, and we'll get into that with SmackDown as well.
Yeah,
it's just this is not natural. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't. It just no. It's the one pimple on your high school crush's face.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Great analogy, Trevor.
Yeah.
Did you think of that before right now, or did you just think of that?
That just came out of the ethereal. Wow. Yeah, that was just right off the top.
You're good at that.
Hey, man. That's why they put me on the big show. That's why I'm here.
All right. Well, let's move on to something a little bit more exciting, I think. The Randy Orton-Luke Harper feud. They did a pretty good video package for this particular match. Going all the way back from when Randy joined the Wyatts and all that.
Which I don't know who's overseeing the production of these WWE video packages that they put together, but they could put together a package on the Nikki Natalya feud and make me
some of them are really good.
Oh yeah,
like even if you're not a fan that has been up to date on things,
it reels you in.
They tell you everything that's happened in the feud. Like if you missed a week of wrestling, guess what? If something important happened, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Great match. Pretty decent in length. Luke Harper looked great, I think, during the pretty much the whole match. Really shows that he's a higher caliber talent than they've been giving him credit for in the last, I don't know, how long has he been around the main roster? 3 or 4 years?
Long time.
The match ends with Harper attempts his discus clothesline, and Randy Orton gets the RKO out of nowhere. The same way he ends every match that he's in nowadays.
True.
But yeah, overall, I think Luke Harper looked really strong, and I think we were talking before the show, he could be potentially in the title picture for WrestleMania.
Yeah, and this match is exactly what I said. If any of you guys listened to our preview show for Elimination Chamber this past Sunday, one of the points that I made with this match was that I think if you book this properly, you can really use it as a showcase, because there's no way in hell Randy Orton's losing this match. But if you book it properly, you can definitely use it as like a showcase to show, like, elevate Luke Harper in the process of losing, and they did just that.
They did pretty good.
The 2 super kicks in a row.
Yeah.
Hell of a spot.
Yeah.
Very good.
He's a really good performer.
Yeah, Luke Harper's fantastic.
So,
and he's connected with the crowd in a way that
I'm interested to see what they do with his character, as far as you can't change his look too much, because it's storyline wise, it doesn't really make sense for him to not be this hick or whatever his
you know what, go full tilt. Just have him shave the hair, trim the beard down, put on a suit.
You want a bald-headed Luke Harper?
Make him like a JBL 2.0.
See, I think if he looked all right bald, he would have already cut it off, because he's probably got a weird shaped head or something. So he's like, I'd rather have this big old bald spot than be completely bald.
Either way, fantastic match from top to bottom.
That was probably, I would say that's my second favorite match of the night.
Which leads us into...
Not my favorite match of the night. No, it does not.
Segue.
It was not Alexa Bliss versus Naomi as far as my favorite match. This one, I thought Bliss was going to have the belt until WrestleMania. It turns out that it's not true. Alexa Bliss was trying to hit her Twisted Bliss finisher. It got blocked with Naomi's knees, and she hit the split-legged moonsault for the win. This is her first championship in WWE. So, and she's been around for a while. She's been wrestling, so...
And I think this is the time to do it. Like, I mean, and this doesn't feel like in the same way how the Raw Women's title bounces around back and forth between two
every other week.
Right. It's taking, not that.
On SmackDown, you're taking all of your women's wrestlers and putting them essentially at that like same plateau level,
right?
Which
trying
is
to
like
get them all at the same level.
Very good, because that means that you have 3 or 4 women on the roster that could very credibly be a champion,
and you can switch them in and out for the storylines. Exactly, whatever you want to do with them.
So I agree with the booking here. It did definitely shock me a little bit. I didn't necessarily see this one coming. The match, a couple little sloppy spots in there that
Bliss is still pretty sloppy.
Yeah, but for what it was,
she's super young, so I mean, she's still got time to learn.
Yeah,
but I thought the match was all right. Not the finish that I was expecting, at least. And I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with this towards WrestleMania. Naomi's from Miami; that's where WrestleMania is.
Yeah,
they've mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah. You may have heard about it.
So I think she'll probably have the belt at least till Mania, and then
we'll see
who knows? Who knows what match is going to get booked for? If it's going to be multi-women, who knows? After that, so we have a new women's champion. After that is our main event, our Elimination Chamber match.
And who was in this again?
A bunch of no-name guys, I think.
A couple undercarders.
A bunch of mid-card guys and John Cena. So, the contenders are John Cena, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Baron Corbin, and The Miz. If you don't know what a chamber-style match is, 2 men start the match. The remaining 4 get released into the pods.
Was it every 5 minutes? I think it is.
It is, and I actually timed it.
Did you?
I did.
Was it 5 minutes?
Almost 5 every time. Okay. It was like 4:30 the first time, and then the shortest one was like the second or third one was only 4 minutes.
Okay.
But they were all about 5 minutes. So.
Okay. WWE time, when they say like 2 minutes for the Royal Rumble,
sometimes really it's like 5 minutes,
a minute and a half. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes
it's the ones that are based on a spot that they can't kind of fudge. So AJ and Cena started the match. They obviously had the most stamina, I would say, of any of the performers in the match. So it only made sense. They fought for a while. The next person to come in the match, number 3, is Dean Ambrose. So he joined the fold. This is actually one of the only Elimination Chambers that I know of where actually all 6 people came out of their pod or were released from their pod before anyone had a pinfall. So we actually had 6 guys in there at one time.
Yeah, that was kind of refreshing.
So yeah, Dean was number 3, Bray Wyatt number 4, Baron Corbin number 5, and The Miz was number 6. We'll go over the eliminations, I guess. Specifically, the first elimination of the night was Dean Ambrose got a schoolboy on Baron Corbin, who was distracted by The Miz, who didn't come out of his pod. Then after Corbin got eliminated, he was kind of upset about it, so he took it out on Dean Ambrose. He hit him with the End of Days, and Miz ran in and covered Ambrose, took advantage of that.
Which kind of harkens back to what I was talking to with the Tag Turmoil match. You know, we saw a precedent happen where...
And they took advantage of it, where the Ascension could not, So, 2 in a row very quickly. After that, we had The Miz got eliminated by John Cena after an AA was applied to him, I guess you could say.
Right.
He applied an AA finishing move.
Executed,
yes. It's not a submission. So he eliminated The Miz. We're down to our final 3. John Cena, Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles, and wouldn't you know... Bray Wyatt eliminates John Cena from the championship match, so we will have a new champion at that point.
Unreal.
I don't know what's going on.
Right. What is
something. So John Cena is eliminated. That leaves us with Bray Wyatt and AJ Styles. AJ Styles, towards the end of the match, was going to hit the phenomenal forearm, and he got caught. The catch was kind of sloppy, but the Sister Abigail that he hit looked gnarly. AJ sold it like he got planted head first into the ground.
I kind of like the fact that he didn't catch him clean for that, because it made it look like AJ was trying to wriggle
get out of it. Yeah,
and
he's like, no,
just got caught and couldn't get out.
I was just kind of hoping, because I thought that I was like, all right, I think something like that's going to happen. I was kind of hoping it would be kind of like an RKO out of nowhere. A Sister Abigail.
No, and it's if you notice, and we'll get to this with SmackDown, the Sister Abigail is becoming a very protected
no one kicks out of it
finisher.
Anymore. Yeah, nobody kicks out of it.
It's looking
that and the RKO,
strong.
I think, are the most protected right now.
So, what was the end result of the match, Corey?
The new World Heavyweight Champion, Bray Wyatt.
And this is a cause for celebration, boys. Got some party hats, some noisemakers.
Oh man.
These don't make noise.
These are just blowers. Yeah, there's no noise on this.
This is what you get from dollar stores when you stop in on a.
All right.
You want to hand me that mic?
This,
thank you, sir.
Both of us broke our hats.
I feel so bad for anybody.
All 4 of us broke our hats.
Well, when you stop at the dollar store on your way home from work and you're getting some party favors to celebrate Bray Wyatt's WWE Championship win, this is what you get.
I
feel bad for anybody who...
We appreciate your enthusiasm for Bray Wyatt.
Joe, can we hit that drop one more time?
Yeah.
I can't deal.
Congratulations, Husky Harris, on your championship win. You deserve it.
Right.
You deserve it.
I can't do it.
Fantastic,
wow.
though.
So that was the pay-per-view. I thought that was probably one of the best Elimination Chamber matches that I've ever seen.
That was hands down the best.
The only thing that I didn't like, which I know they do this in any of the multi-man matches, is there's always 2 guys wrestling and everyone else just kind of takes a nap on the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Problem with the Elimination Chamber is there's no outside of the ring. We can see everyone laying there playing dead.
Right.
And that pulls me out of the match a little bit. But other than that, I know they have to do that. Otherwise, it would be too much to cover with the cameras. But
fantastic
beautiful
match. I want to get you guys' feelings on 2 things before we move on to Raw.
Absolutely.
One, what did you guys think of the new design of the Elimination Chamber?
I liked it.
I liked it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like the sliding doors on the sides.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot more effective than the old, Well,
they had like the big round sliding doors before,
that didn't really work out as well. Plus, the visuals weren't really there. Also,
and
I
then
like
Sheamus got stuck in one a couple years ago, right? Yeah. They couldn't get it unlocked.
I like the fact that the top of the chamber pods have like a flat surface for guys to do spots off of now, instead of that like rounded surface that it used to have.
I think that before it was a chained surface, because I remember the New Day tag team one, they pulled Kalisto's legs through and were holding him.
Yep.
So I think it was just chains before, and now there's actually a platform you can stand on. So
I thought the new chamber looks fantastic to anybody, and I read a lot of feedback online about people complaining about how the outside floor surface outside of the ropes kind of looked like it was padded as opposed to that metal surface.
It did, but
I don't think that takes away from the match at all.
If you actually saw anyone take a move on it, it didn't look like they were landing on a pad. No. I mean, it looked like it could be wooden for all you know. It's just painted gray.
Right. And so the new design of the chamber match is fantastic. Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt.
Finally winning his first singles title in WWE, and he goes straight for the top and goes after the big one.
Yeah.
Not only that, but pinning John Cena and AJ Styles
in the same night.
Clean. No lights going out.
Okay, yes, clean, but the John Cena one, AJ Styles did do a lot of work on John Cena before Wyatt got the pin.
But still,
yes, clean.
No outside of the match shenanigans. So
right, he didn't do all the work.
What you guys' thoughts on is this the time to pull the trigger and put the belt on Bray, or
you never know with creative?
Yeah, I mean, I think storyline wise, it's not a bad route to go. I'm interested to see what AJ Styles is going to do for WrestleMania. I don't feel like there's a spot for him, which really sucks because he's like one of the biggest names on SmackDown. I don't even have a spot for him. Yeah. So that's the only thing that really concerns me about Bray winning this is I don't know if AJ is going to have anything to do. So.
Cool.
We'll see. But that's Elimination Chamber, guys. And so let's move on. Screw you, phone. Let's move on to bigger and better things. Monday Night Raw. What do you got?
Heartbreak Kid Mike Cox.
Heartbreak Kid Mike Cox.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. You want me to call you the Heartbreak Kid?
That was fine. Monday Night Raw, which was exceptionally good this week.
Yeah, very good show.
I was impressed.
Surprisingly, Stephanie McMahon opened up the show to discuss how bad of a job Mick Foley did the week before with the Samoa Joe contract signing. She stated that Mick Foley was off for the rest of the week, and then everybody's favorite wrestler, Roman Reigns, comes out.
Yes.
Which is funny because we just said it's like a super good Monday Night Raw, but I feel like right off the bat, I'm like any Raw that starts with Stephanie in the ring and then Roman Reigns, I'm usually switching the channel at that point.
Yes.
But no. Roman Reigns comes down to the ring and demands a match with Braun Strowman, who already has a match with Mark Henry. So we'll get to that in a minute. After that, Gallows and Anderson comes out and interrupts Roman Reigns, and they tell him, well, basically, you've been whining and you're crying that you want Braun Strowman, but he's busy, so we'll take you on. So Stephanie sets up a match with Gallows and Anderson against Roman Reigns in a handicap match.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Refreshing to see a match we haven't seen 1,000 times before.
Yes.
Like Gallows and Anderson. Yes, get them involved in something.
But it's a lose-lose. It's a handicap match.
Also true.
So if the club lose,
upside,
that sucks. If they win, they should because it's 2 versus 1.
Yeah. Right.
So it's kind of a booking issue where it's a lose-lose. If you get to write what happens, you get to decide ahead of time. These wrestlers don't go out and make their own decisions. Why book yourself into a lose-lose situation? I don't understand.
Right.
I don't get it.
But anyway.
Either way. How'd that match go?
It ended with a DQ.
Of course.
Of course.
Well,
because you're not going to put Gallows and Anderson over Roman Reigns clean.
You can't.
But at the same time, you don't want them to look weak.
Yeah, weren't they double teaming them in the ring and then the ref ended it because they weren't tagging each other?
Right. It was a good match. He seemed pretty strong during the match, honestly. So it was
Roman did?
Yeah.
They made him look strong.
So shockingly.
Wow.
Shockingly,
trying something new out.
It was a good match. Like I said, he won by DQ. Second segment, The New Day, everybody's favorite tag team, of course. They came out to give an update with the New Day ice cream machine blueprint. So we should be getting ice cream very, very soon.
Booty flavored ice cream.
God.
So we
need to make that into a drop.
That set up a match with Kofi Kingston and Bo Dallas, and the crowd chanted, "We want ice cream." Bo Dallas ended up tearing the blueprints.
That was my favorite spot of that entire match.
He's in trouble.
The whole him holding the blueprints and kind of doing like, don't do it.
Don't you
I'll tear him. Like, that was fantastic. Yeah. That was such a good little. Shouts out to Bo Dallas.
Yeah, shouts out to Bo Dallas. Kofi ended up winning the match.
Of course.
With right after, he was jumped by the New Day and NWO est covered with bootios.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of ass to mouth.
Yeah, it was a pretty
Get those bootios shoving it in their mouth.
Ooh, this is not a PG podcast.
You're allowed to say ass and mouth.
Oh God.
I guess it's too
and
late.
ass to mouth.
Which right after that, we catch Neville backstage with the interview, and he's talking about his match with T.J. Perkins on 205 Live, and Jack Gallagher.
It's I've heard it pronounced both ways, but it's Gallagher.
Gentleman Jack.
Gentleman Jack.
Like that.
Yes.
Gentleman Jack makes an appearance in the interview before he heads to the ring. His match with Noam Dar.
Noam Dar.
I like Noam Dar.
Who was accompanied by my future baby mom,
Alicia
Fox.
So
that match, Gentleman Jack won. He had an unexpected headbutt, which led to his running drop kick.
His headbutt looks vicious.
Yeah, I think I've only seen one sloppy one where it looked like he didn't really connect, but every other one looks like you could kill someone.
I don't know how he's hitting those and pulling them at the right time.
He's got a good amount of hair on top of his head to where he's able to make it. He doesn't have to get as close as he would need to if he had short hair.
I don't know if that. Okay,
I'm telling you, that's how it works.
Okay.
So Gentleman Jack gets the win, and which after, of course, Neville comes out with the stare down and holds the belt up. So they're doing the stare down back
getting
and
ready
forth.
getting ready
for their match to build up. So I liked that. Right after, a limo pulls up to the arena with none other than Samoa Joe and my dad, Triple H.
Your dad is Triple H?
I want Triple H to adopt
me. He actually almost made a sign to the SmackDown that we went to that said Triple H adopt me, and I had to remind him that he probably wasn't going to be there.
You're 28 years old. You want Triple H to adopt you?
Actually, at this point, I'm 31 and I would take
Right.
it.
Right after that, a sexy Emma video package comes on screen and gets us excited, so she can finally make her
Emelina
make her reach her turn,
which is about time.
What a great debut!
Yeah. So Emelina comes out and says that she's going to go back to Emma.
Yeah,
and leaves right back out to backstage.
I've heard rumors that apparently what happened was that somebody in creative just didn't like the way that she was portraying the character in the way that it was supposed to be portrayed, and they literally pulled the plug on it at the last second and said, "Cool, just go out there and say that you're going to come back as Emma, and we'll kind of go from there."
Yeah, that's that. Any other thing doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
why they would do it.
That was 17
waste of time.
Weeks.
Right. It was such a waste of time.
17 weeks.
And they advertise it every Monday.
I've had relationships shorter than that, which is more of like an indication of mine.
Right? Yeah, I mean.
Ooh. The DMs are open, ladies.
Right. Which after
all the ladies listening to this podcast, they're all gonna message you right now.
Oh man!
Next segment.
Travis. Hey guys, hold on, my phone's gone.
Next segment. Bayley is interviewed about her match with Charlotte Flair, which was the main event for the women's title.
Yep.
And basically, the theme of the interview was she's going to achieve her dream. Next segment.
Which, if you haven't heard, her dream is to main event a Raw in February.
Yeah. So she's doing it.
Check it off the list.
Bucket list.
Next
it's not a very deep bucket.
Is Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens talking about the festival of friendship, and my dad, Triple H, makes another cameo and says that he wants to talk to KO alone. So him and KO skedaddle, and Chris Jericho is just sitting there still planning the friendship festival of friendship.
Did anybody else get butterflies when you saw Triple H pull Kevin Owens aside?
But I'm like, bro, I'm so happy that Tripp is making more appearances back on TV.
He's making moves.
See, I'm wondering if that particular segment, which who knows what they're alluding to, but if Seth didn't get hurt, if that would even have happened.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh crap, we need to come up with something equally as exciting.
I think, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, I think they definitely have found a way to recover from the whole Seth Rollins injury thing and really kind of like maybe bide some time until everything fleshes back out and gets back on track to where it should have been. So
that one little segment makes me excited to watch next week.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Just that little thing.
I agree. Next segment, Braun Strowman versus Mark Henry, the monster amongst men versus the world's strongest man. which we know Strowman won, but it was a great match.
Yeah, it was good to see Strowman have competition.
Indeed,
as he would like to tell you.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just wreck Mark Henry. Like,
Well,
they
yeah.
went back and forth.
I will say Mark Henry. So he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Did anyone? He in the match he looked all right. You know, obviously he's not a fast guy anyways. But walking to the ring, it looked like he was having a hard time locking his knees.
Well, they should have just got one of those carts from Royal Rumble.
Right.
Like, what is?
Just run him all the way down.
Oh man,
Just make that his new
He looked
gimmick.
rough getting into the ring, but then obviously once he was in the ring,
All right.
I didn't notice it
New
anymore.
gimmick. Mark Henry, retiree, loves golf, gives him an excuse to ride a golf cart to the ring.
So like I said, Strowman won the match immediately after he won the match. Our favorite wrestler, Roman Reigns,
The big dog.
he comes out to confront,
his yard,
right?
Yeah.
To confront Strowman, jumps on the apron, so he knocks him off immediately. He falls down, regroups. Strowman runs to the ropes. Reigns grabs him, pulls him down. So he finally makes it in the ring. But again, Strowman is just so powerful. He just destroys him.
Interesting to see Reigns get the short end of this confrontation.
I'm wondering if I think the finish at Fastlane has to be a dirty finish or a draw because
Yeah.
neither of these men can lose.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can't book either of them to lose. Some
Well-
Taker interferes or something.
It's going to be, ooh.
Oh, was that? Oh,
I mean, that's the only. You hear the bells ding, and then the
Dong.
lights go out, and Roman's gone, and we never see him again.
Well,
and the DJ Khaled voice.
I like that. I like that.
I like that.
Be loyal.
So right after, Strowman's just telling Roman, "You can't win." So just basically fueling the fire that he's the top guy right now. He can't be messed with. Next segment, Bayley, Cesaro, and Sheamus is backstage they're hyping her up for basically the
Yeah,
main
doing like a
event.
little shadow boxing and stuff like that.
Hyping her up for the main event, and
Yep.
was it Casso and Enzo talked to Cesaro. Like,
Enzo and Cass.
Enzo and Cass. Casso and Enzo.
Enzo and Cass, they basically confront Cesaro about last week's
Yeah, with the whole weird finish.
Yeah,
to
with
like
the whole
tag
weird
team
finish.
rematch and,
So basically, it sets up a match with Enzo.
which is kind of weird because you have a clear cut face team in this.
Yeah.
In Enzo and Cass. You have a clear cut heel team in Gallows and Anderson.
Right.
And now you're inserting
Well, you have a half face, half
like a
heel
half,
team.
yeah. It's
I
kinda,
smell a triple threat at the next paper.
that wouldn't shock me.
Gives them all something to do.
Yeah, not that there's really much else going on. in Raw.
Enzo and Cass haven't been doing anything.
Yeah,
for a while.
outside of the occasional,
Rusev, Jinder Mahal
which is
feud.
painful.
I mean, that's almost as
Very
bad as the
painful.
New Day with Titus O'Neil.
It's a tie.
Almost. Almost as bad.
So, which after setting up that match, Michael Cole interviews Samoa Joe.
phenomenal segment, by the
Yeah.
way.
Very great segment. Samoa Joe just basically made it plain and clear. I came here to hurt people, and I don't care about nobody's opinion. He said the results speak for themselves. This is why, after 18 years, I finally made it to WWE Raw. He stated he's not Sami Zayn, who's happy to be on Raw, and anybody who gets in his way will learn why the Creator unleashed the Destroyer.
Which is kind of interesting. So when I first saw this segment in this interview, I kind of thought to myself, well, it's kind of interesting that he threw Sami Zayn out there, like, you know, kind of like a off the top just example of the point I'm trying to make, Sami Zayn. But as we saw later, this kind of played into something that I think they might be setting up for. So
You thinking Zayn versus
yeah,
Samoa at the paper?
yeah. So we ended up. What was that match, Mike, from Raw with Sammy and what was it?
Sami and Rusev.
Yeah, that was the next match, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is next segment. Sami Zayn gets the win with the Hallelujah kick.
Luva kick.
Hallelujah kick.
Hell of a kick.
It's kind of like a play on words. It's like the
Hell of a kick.
hell of a kick, but
Haluva
the Haluva
kick.
kick. Yeah.
With the Haluva kick. After the match, he's giving an interview with Charlie. He's giving his thoughts on Samoa Joe's comments about him. And as expected, Samoa Joe, music hits.
Annihilates him.
And out of nowhere,
Eish.
he just wrestled Rusev. I mean,
Yeah. Handsome Rusev.
Right, handsome Rusev.
Handsome
He
Rusev.
pummels Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Puts him in the cannon clutch.
camel clutch?
No,
He said
the coquina clutch.
Coquina
Yeah,
clutch.
coquina clutch.
Very weakly, if you notice. He didn't even have his arm underneath Sami Zayn's neck properly. It was
Yeah.
like over to the side.
And he lets him know, when you say my name.
Put some respect on
on
it. Put some respect on it.
So next segment, we see Charlotte getting ready for her match against Bayley in the main event. Next segment right after that, Trab's favorite guy,
Oh yeah, Akira Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa,
Another Raw match.
against Era Duvure.
Ari Davari.
Arya Davari.
Davari. Ari Davari.
Older brother. Do you remember Davari? Remember Davari?
You remember?
Remember Muhammad Hassan?
Thanks for the help because I can't.
No.
Some of these names are difficult.
And Brian Kendricks is on commentary, so that's very entertaining.
Brian.
I like this narrative that Brian Kendrick is like he's
the gatekeeper.
The mentor to Akira Tozawa, and Akira Tozawa just has like no idea.
Right, he knows nothing is going on.
Which we'll get a little bit into at 205 Live, but like, yeah, it's fantastic. I think Brian Kendrick, this is a good little program.
Yeah, I
for
like
him to
it.
be in,
It's
so.
giving him something to do without having to have anyone to feud with.
But this gets us all to like the real main event of the evening. No offense to the women's title match, but
Right, but before they said Cesaro got the win,
course.
quite easy.
Of course.
But the heat of the night,
Woo.
the 61 minute man presents the festival of friendship.
Oh yes.
So basically, Y2J is on cloud 9, coming out. He's got the works, he got
The
the
whole
fireworks, the ladies,
Yeah.
He's got
the
the
smoke, the
flamingo
pyro.
dancers. what are they
magician.
called?
The
We're gonna get to the
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I'm just so excited.
And you can clearly see Kevin Owens is not feeling it at all, but that's his boys. He's gonna support.
called? We don't know what Triple H talked to him about.
Indeed.
Maybe it's you got in there. And,
Indeed.
Yeah.
So Chris unveils a Gonahan statue that displays him and Kevin Owens' friendship. Kevin Owens is not impressed. The statue was pretty weird, but he said it
Yeah.
cost 8 racks. So
Yeah, straight up.
if you spend $8,000 on your boy,
I feel like if anyone embellishes how much things cost, it's Chris Jericho.
Yeah. What was
His
the
Jerotron
what was the estimated
5,000 was like a $60,000 TV.
What was the estimated retail price on the jacket that Dean Ambrose is trying?
$9,000 or
Unreal.
$11,000 or something for this light up jacket?
balling.
Chris Jericho's got
the
it like
painting, the painting that Jericho.
Here's what I'm saying.
Oh my
I
gosh.
like that.
The
I would
creation.
hang that up.
Right, but said right after he gives him the Gonahan statue, he unveils a painting called "The Creation of Kevin."
The bit where he says it's art, you don't need pants.
Yes.
At that point, I just like got up off my couch and walked away. I was like, this is just too fantastic. We don't deserve this.
Right, so Chris tells him he wants to hang it on his wall, and KO was like, "Bro, I have 2 kids. I don't have any pants. I'm not hanging this picture on my wall."
Man.
I'd hang it on my wall.
And then Chris Jericho brings out Friendship, the magician, who does some tricks, and again, Kevin Owens is not impressed.
Which ended up getting Friendship
On the list,
Put on the list.
which is hilarious.
I think his list is getting full.
It's
Yeah.
definitely getting full. After which, another gold part of this segment. After which, Chris Jericho calls out Goldberg because they're just tired. This was basically what this whole stick was about, so they can get Goldberg to come out and they can jump him. And Goldberg does not appear, but Gilbert
the returning
Gilbert.
the returning Gilbert.
comes
legend.
out for the appearance, in
man.
which KO is super pissed by now.
They killed me with that, by the way,
yeah.
because they did the entire entrance with like the fire
The
fire
extinguishers,
which is what they
the
used to do,
sparklers,
yeah.
and
It was so funny.
shouts out to
Everyone's chanting Goldberg. They're like, "Oh, Goldberg's here!"
shouts out to Gilbert for
Shouts
coming back
out
for
to
this.
Gilbert, man. I'm pretty sure he was happy
it's-
about
it's
that
probably
call
20
and that
years
check.
since he's been on TV.
Right. So after destroying Gilbert, KO does some rethinking, and he feels bad about not appreciating the festival of friendship. So KO gives Chris Jericho a gift. What is the gift, you ask? It's a list, but it's not a new list of Jericho. It's the list of KO
Oh, well, what's so unique about the list of KO?
that Chris Jericho
His name is on the top of that
is
list.
on the list, which
man.
KO destroys Chris Jericho.
Really gave it to him.
Listen, I have seen some breakups before that have literally reached into my chest and ripped out my beating heart and shown it to me.
We knew it was coming for so long,
And we knew it was coming.
they
Definitely
did a
wasn't
great job.
expecting it.
They did
Monday.
a great job.
This hit me like a brick in the face. Like I was genuinely. And when you're so like into the wrestling product like we are, and we
Yeah.
like analyze it the way we do, you kind of get cynical sometimes. This brought me back to those moments of like early 2000s, late 90s, where I was just like just so invested in the story, where I was like, Wow, this is insane.
It would be nice to be surprised more often, but
Right.
with all the research we do to watch wrestling now,
This
it's hard to be surprised.
Definitely.
This isn't hyperbole when I say that this might be one of my favorite segments that I've seen them produce in quite some time.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was going to be a little over the top, but the payoff was definitely
The
worth
payoff was super good.
Yeah.
So we get to see finally Kevin Owens
full heel,
turn
full
his
evil.
back on Chris Jericho.
And Jericho face. Well,
Maybe.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
A couple cool lines of commentary from that. One, Michael Cole, a very underappreciated call that I just noticed recently was the whole Kevin Owens leaving with the only friend he cares about, the Universal title, which I think was really good. Kind of established him as like he doesn't care about anybody character. Kind of harkening back to that NXT Kevin Owens that when he first came up with John Cena, getting back into that animalistic Kevin Owens doesn't care about anybody.
And hopefully he can win without help from anyone else.
And then just a funny bit. Corey Graves going, Kevin, stop! Fantastic.
Just completely destroying him. For you kiddies that can go back into your research and watch the Shawn Michaels segment when
Who cares about Shawn Michaels?
Hey. No disrespect. When he goes back and turns on so
Who did he turn on?
I'm having a brain freeze.
I don't know. What are you referring to?
The barbershop.
Oh, Marty
the Marty
Jannetty.
He
Jannetty,
turned on
Shawn
Marty
Michaels,
Jannetty.
yeah.
So when he KO put him in through the Jericho 5000.
Yeah, throws him through the TV screen.
So after that,
Exciting.
yep. So that's that segment. So after that,
To
the main event.
Well, there's a little bit of a palate cleanser in between the two.
we have Enzo versus Cesaro, but come on now, Cesaro destroyed him.
Not exactly what you think the match would be, but it's exactly what it was. It's a palate cleanser to clear us off from the
heartbreak that we just
Right.
Yeah.
cool us down.
Need a little bit after that, but
Yeah, with Enzo was just a horrible match. So Cesaro wins. And main event,
Here we go.
Charlotte versus Bayley. Before Charlotte comes out, she runs into Sasha Banks and they get into it. She tells Sasha Banks she's washed up. That's why she's backstage and not in the main event.
right.
So gets to the ring. It's very, very great match. I liked it. The match. I liked
Phenomenal
it the back
match.
and forth.
It was good.
I liked it to build. But ultimately,
I was
Crowd
surprised.
was into it too.
Oh yeah, especially towards the end there.
Crowd was super
near
into
falls?
it. Yeah.
The figure four that Bayley got on Charlotte.
Yeah.
yeah, look, very great match. Sasha Banks comes out.
Well,
and,
first Dana Brooke comes out and
Yes.
inserts herself into the match and kind of like tries to
Cost Bayley the
interfere on
match.
behalf of Charlotte.
right.
Sasha Banks comes out.
Sasha Banks comes out to help Bayley with the assist of a crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes her out, hits Charlotte, and helps Bayley get her title.
Get her first taste of WWE main roster gold.
That's right.
So
Exciting.
Definitely,
super good.
Definitely eager to see
I was
how
surprised.
this goes and how long she'll keep the strap.
phenomenal match.
Till WrestleMania is the answer.
Well, not necessarily because we have Fastlane coming up,
Fastlane.
and
And then she wins it back to Mania.
there's no way, shape, or form that Charlotte's dropping the pay-per-view win streak at Fastlane.
She doesn't have to have a title match at Fastlane.
She's going to have a title match at Fastlane.
Then she's going to win the belt at Fastlane.
And then Bayley's going to win it back at Mania.
And end the streak at Mania.
Yep.
Why put the belt on her now?
Who knows? So on one hand, it was super cool to see Bayley get her first WWE title.
Yeah.
Fantastic match. Fantastic way to close out the show, too. Crowd was super hot for it. The finish was really good. Kind of interested to see where they go with this whole dynamic of playing off of Charlotte and Bayley's relationship now, because, do we go full heel with Sasha now? Like, you couldn't win the belt without me helping. This, that,
Could
and
go a
the
lot
other.
of ways.
Yeah, so they
They got a couple weeks.
A lot of avenues.
Yeah. So, all in all, really good Raw this week.
I was impressed.
Very
Right.
exceptional Raw this week.
Cool. So, just a quick recap of 205 Live. I know we kind of touched on a couple things that on Raw that they kind of set up for. Typical 205 Live format, 3 matches on the night. Rich Swann in your first match going over Noam Dar with a Phoenix Splash. A couple notes from this. Super, super, super cool little in-ring promo before the match with Rich Swann mimicking the Noam Dar, Alicia Fox, which is now like my new favorite sound drop in the entire world.
I like Noam Dar so much because of that.
Yeah. Corey Graves doing that, also bringing back that satellite interview segment that they did on SmackDown last week, where it's like the two competitors, how they did with Nikki and Natalia and Tom Phillips.
Right.
Much better this time.
Yeah.
With Corey Graves talking to Perkins and Neville. This was probably the best promo I've seen TJ Perkins cut since his time in the WWE.
Which is not saying much because it wasn't the greatest promo, but
it was pretty solid. I thought
he's really bad overall. Normally,
it added a layer of intensity to his character that I don't think you see. I think you get kind of caught up in the retro video games and dabbing sometimes, and kind of get lost in the character in that. So next match, Gren Metalik making his much touted 205 live debut in a
who did he face?
In a match against Philadelphia's very own Drew Gulak. Really good showcase of Metalik's in-ring style. Metalik known to use the ropes in a lot of creative ways. Picking up the win over Drew Gulak in his debut with the Metalik driver, which is a super good move.
Yeah.
A little backstage segment between Akira Tozawa and the Brian Kendrick, their first official meeting of mentor and student, protege. Pretty funny with the Brian Kendrick, basically like, do you understand what I'm telling you? You need a mentor, this and the other thing, and kind of like
do you know what a mentor is?
Do you know what a mentor is? And then Tozawa just
apprentice.
like
yes, do you know what an apprentice is?
Yeah. Tozawa just basically just no selling him the entire time, and then just goes not interested and walks out.
Yeah,
and this I love Akira Tozawa. Main event of the evening: Neville taking on TJ Perkins in a non-title match. Nothing really that you wouldn't expect here. I think Perkins gave him some good offense and gave him a couple good moves, got some good stuff in there.
It wasn't as much of a squash match as he's been having lately.
Right. But Perkins obviously still dropping taking the loss to Neville. Yeah. Neville looking strong, especially ending with a submission, which is something I've seen out of Neville.
I like that submission move a lot.
It's a very cool look.
Rings of Saturn.
Do they have a name for it yet? Or?
The Rings of Saturn. No, I don't know. They do. It's not called the Rings of Saturn, but that's what the move is.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like this though.
But it's good. It's good to see him get away from the high flying style. And
heels typically aren't high flyers.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Since the heel turn, you've seen Neville using more of a ground and pound attack, kind of grounding his opponents, really grinding them down, slowing down the match pace a little bit, and now obviously adding the icing to the heel cake with a submission finisher. So Jack Gallagher comes out, number one contender after the match to confront Neville. Show ends with Gallagher standing tall in the ring after headbutting Neville out of the ring and holding the Cruiserweight Championship. Perhaps a little bit of prelude.
Looked good on him, too.
To what we could see
over his shoulder.
I don't know if we're ready for, what would this be like our fourth Cruiserweight champion?
I think the next time it may change hands is at WrestleMania. Multi-man match, potentially.
There's been some talk about doing the traditional Mania ladder match for the Cruiserweight belt.
I think the only problem is that they have to get 6 or 7 guys to that level that you would believe that they're qualified.
I think you could have. Match. I think you could have
7,
6, 7. Well, 6 easily, 7 maybe. I think you could throw Neville. Tony. Okay, so what I would do is Neville, T.J. Perkins, Jack Gallagher, Tony Nese, Rich Swann. Throw Noam Dar in there. He's a prevalent name.
Yeah.
And then let's get a plucky underdog. Let's get either like an Akira Tozawa. Let's get a newcomer. Let's get
not Kendrick.
Gren Metalik, maybe Brian Kendrick. Who knows?
I guess they could do it.
Yeah, you could do a field of like 6 or 7. So
all right.
So that's 205 Live this week. Backing up a little bit to SmackDown Live. We have show opening up with Bray Wyatt cutting his hellacious promo, his first promo as WWE champion. Crowd was super into it. I know there's been a lot of hullabaloo the last couple days on the "You Deserve It" chant.
They use it a lot.
It's weird because I don't think it's used at the most appropriate moments.
Well, when you use it as often as the crowd does.
Yeah.
Anytime someone
it's kind
wins.
of like the there's a lot of chants that I kind of fit because you can't. One of the weird juxtapositions in that, because I actually think that the "You Deserve It" chant does fit in this situation.
Yeah.
Because as part of Bray's character is kind of that he's a cult leader, and I think you can kind of play off of that and kind of like,
brainwashed all you.
I do deserve it. You know,
my children.
So I think he's one of the few characters who can play off of that. But then they followed it up with the "What" chant, which if you know me and if you ever met me, if I could take one thing from the world of professional wrestling and send it to the furthest reaches of outer space and it never came back again, it would be the "What" chant. My God, so many good promos over the past couple of years.
Thanks, Stone Cold.
Have been just destroyed by that chant.
I will say the really good guys on the mic can overcome the wet chant.
Yeah.
You just got to not allow the break when you're speaking.
Yeah.
You know, you got to say more than one sentence at a time.
Yeah.
You can't take pauses because then they say, what?
Bray Wyatt's inaugural promo is interrupted by John Cena, who comes out to announce that he would like his rematch, or that he was going to have his rematch later. It was already announced previously. Interesting note, AJ Styles comes out and inserts himself into the segment, claiming that
he's owed one more recently than
correct
John Cena.
So what do we do to fix this conundrum? Send out Dan Bryan to announce that tonight's main event is going to be a triple threat for the WWE Championship. Kind of not fair to AJ Styles because he kind of gets his rematch kind of glazed over again, but still at the same time addressed. It's cool how they kind of tied it up and got both of those rematches out of the way, but, you know, we'll kind of see where they go from here. Next segment, we see Dean Ambrose backstage, kind of looking for Baron Corbin, trying to get some of that revenge from the previous night of his elimination, or 2 nights ago at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Kind of a ongoing theme, very clearly setting up for a program between the two of them.
I like the way that this particular thing pans out for the night.
Yeah, very cool turn later on in the evening. Next, first actual match of the evening, American Alpha taking on the Ascension. Kind of interesting. Ascension looking a little bit weaker than they did the night before. Once again, still good to see them on TV getting their stuff in, because I do think that they can really kind of occupy that 3rd or 4th space on the tag team depth chart. But kind of booked a little weak. The big news out of this match is that post-match, the Usos cut a promo via the Titantron.
I like the promo.
Including a basically just telling American Alpha, like, watch out, because that's not paranoia that you're feeling. That's the Usos. Which is a very cool line. Very, very ominous. I think it fits the new Uso.
I think they did a good job.
Yeah. The only thing I was kind of expecting that didn't happen was, to me, it felt like one of those old diversion promos where it was like a pre-taped thing and they would show it on the Tron and they would come out from like the other side of the ring and attack. I was really ready for that. I was like, yeah, here we go. We're
next week.
Yeah. So didn't happen, but moving on. Carmella, James Ellsworth backstage segment. Woo! I am getting tired of this pairing already. I was kind of into it at first, but
even at first,
I don't get it. I just don't understand what Carmella's not even really fighting any real matches. Squash matches.
Yeah.
What do you need a manager to help you cheat in a squash match?
I mean, and this going back to Elimination Chamber, they had that really uncomfortable. The first time they did it at Elimination Chamber, and they interviewed Carmella up in the booth after every women's match. She goes, just brushes it off, and then James Ellsworth basically just echoes her sentiments.
He's such a bad actor.
It's so bad. Luckily for us, and very seldom do I say luckily for Dean Ambrose, he comes in and interrupts the segment, and actually has a really cool callback to the Dean Ambrose James Ellsworth angle from around No Mercy and stuff like that. So Dan Bryan kind of injects himself like the substitute teacher that he is, and grants Dean Ambrose a match with James Ellsworth that we're going to be treated to after the break. Come back from commercial break. James Ellsworth, Carmella in the ring, waiting for the arrival of Dean Ambrose. Kind of a delay on him coming out, and out walks Baron Corbin
with
the lifeless body, the lifeless corpse of Dean Ambrose hanging in his hand. Yikes! That was a very.
Wait, did Dean Ambrose really die?
No.
Oh, lifeless corpse.
He's just a lunatic.
You led me into the deeper, darker place.
He was very sleepy.
Oh my god, he killed him.
He was very.
Baron's hardcore. He's booked very strong.
It was a very cool visual though to see him drag him out of the entrance ramp and basically just kind of throw him around. They had that weird
electrical
table spot that I thought they were done with, but I guess they're still bringing that back every once in a while.
Quick callback to the Raw when they have the fake TV that they do. The Jericho, Kevin Owens. As soon as I saw the ring, I'm like, someone is going through that TV. That is a fake TV. Someone's head is going through that TV.
Oh man! Apparently in WWE, all the tables are wired to explode.
Why do you hook up all these wires to this table?
Right. But super cool segment with Baron Corbin, just annihilating Dean Ambrose. The end of days through the table looked fantastic. Obviously explosion withstanding, but pretty cool little segment there. Obviously we're getting ready for a pretty good feud between these two, and moving from one of my favorite feuds on the show to one of my least favorites. Footage of the Elimination Chamber fight between Nikki and Natalya, including pretty interesting that they showed the whole segment of Maurice getting covered in makeup, which I'm sure will probably pop up at some point.
Give it a week or two.
Basically, Dan Bryan comes up with a solution to get these two to finally put this blood feud, this rivalry behind them. We're going to have a Falls Count Anywhere match next week. So hopefully we will see the end of this feud. I'm not getting my hopes up. We'll see. Moving on, Renee Young interview with Dolph Ziggler backstage. Dolph Ziggler kind of fitting himself into this narrative that you see a lot of older guys on the roster fall into now of this. It's me versus the new era. Like these new up and coming guys, even though I think Kalisto has been with the company for a little longer than
a couple of years.
Yeah, he's been around a while, but I don't necessarily know if that's the angle that Ziggler needs to be coming at this from.
He needs to do he can do the same exact storyline and gimmick. Just some higher profile guys, some guys that mean something.
Yeah. So he can get another push.
Even if they're above him on the card, great. Do something like to be a sneaky, where you're taking him and you're putting his ankle in a chair and breaking his ankle because that's how you get the advantage on a guy who's higher on the card than you.
Right.
Taking him out.
And I could see them.
Guys.
I see what they're doing with him. I think they're trying to use him to kind of bring up some lower level talent and bring them up to a little bit of a higher level, but. I don't know if it's necessarily working the way they want it to, so we'll kind of move from there.
Yeah.
Then we are treated to a rematch from the previous night, or from 2 nights ago, from Elimination Chamber. Mickie James versus Becky Lynch. Kind of interesting that they did this rematch so soon after the pay-per-view.
I think that's the way the pay-per-view match should end.
Yeah. Mickie gets her win back off of Becky Lynch. Pretty cool little segment where she was selling like the arm injury, kind of lured the ref into the corner, had the ref kind of stop the action for a little bit. Sneaks out, hits the Mick kick square in the jaw of Becky Lynch, and picks up her win, gets her win back from Elimination Chamber. Kind of cool to see where this is going. I don't know. What do you think?
Title picture. Maybe a multi-woman title match at WrestleMania.
You think so?
Possibly.
Yeah. Interesting. Well,
you can fit all of them into one match.
It's going to be interesting to see where they go because the next segment is Naomi in the ring giving a post Elimination Chamber victory promo.
Knee brace.
And in a knee brace. Yeah. So sustained some sort of injury. I don't know if this is a work or if it's a shoot.
Let's hope it's a work.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I would hate to see a situation where somebody wins the belt, kind of like a Finn Balor.
Finn Balor effect.
Super huge win for her. I would like to see her carry some of this momentum and see what they can do with her going into a program for WrestleMania, whether it be against like Mickie James.
We'll see how much time it gets on air too.
Right.
Can affect.
I think they're going to give it some time though, because Alexa Bliss does come out, interrupt the promo, and basically gives Naomi an ultimatum. Basically just tells her, either give me my rematch next week or forfeit the belt over to me. So, which I didn't know Alexa Bliss had that kind of pull backstage to kind of make those kind of decisions. But when you're Alexa Bliss, I guess you get to kind of make those decisions on your own. Which takes us to the main event of the evening. Triple threat match between AJ Styles, John Cena, and Bray Wyatt for Bray Wyatt's newly won WWE Championship. Wow. This match was full throttle from even before the ring bell to the absolute end of the match.
A lot of good performers in there.
Bray Wyatt coming out last, ambushed by Luke Harper before he even hits the ring.
Definitely
the lights go on.
that.
Yeah, the lights go on from the entrance, and Luke Harper gets his stuff in before the match officially gets underway. Very intense. Definitely setting up for some future stuff.
Good things
there.
for Luke Harper.
Definitely.
I think there's a lot of good stuff there for Luke Harper. Oh, yeah. So, match is full go. Couple cool spots. Cena goes for the double AA as he did at his win at the Royal Rumble.
His new signature move is 2 AAs.
Well, apparently when you're facing AJ Styles, it takes two of them to put the guy down. Basically tries to go for it. Styles counters into the calf crusher. Little back and forth there again. Somehow Styles gets knocked out to the outside. John Cena gets stuck with the Sister Abigail, and then for the second time in 3 nights, sorry to bang on the table, I know I've advised against it, but clean pinfall over John Cena in his first title defense.
Yeah.
So
I I mean, there's obviously no DQs in a triple threat, so I was kind of wondering who was going to eat the pin. I'm glad it's John Cena, not AJ Styles.
AJ again.
I think we're starting to evolve. I know it's been a narrative for a long time that John Cena kind of held back younger talent, especially like in the Super Cena era.
He's doing great things putting over talent.
He has been doing a phenomenal job.
This guy's great. He's awesome. I'm going to beat him up, but he's great.
And I think he really kind of started that stride with the Kevin Owens program when Kevin Owens came up from NXT, where John Cena took on this role of, okay, I'm established now. I can use how over I am to get Kevin Owens over. Let's get AJ Styles legitimized. Let's get Bray Wyatt over, and it's working. So match ends. Wyatt retains. Randy Orton hits the ring to formally address the situation that we're faced with. Randy Orton obviously winning the Royal Rumble, is the number one contender. His stablemate and Wyatt family member Bray Wyatt is the WWE champion. How are they going to tie this up? We'll have to wait till next week to see, because Randy Orton,
don't even know who's in the match other than AJ Styles.
Yeah, Randy Orton announces at the end of SmackDown to close the show that he is loyal to Bray Wyatt and relinquishes his number one contendership to the WWE Championship, setting up for a battle royal for next week?
Yeah,
to crown a new number one contender.
See, I don't think the wording, he was very specific with the wording. I don't think he said he was necessarily relinquishing it. He said he refused to face Bray Wyatt for the world championship. So we'll see if he changes his mind.
Let's hope so.
But I don't think it's a case where whoever wins the battle royal next week has that spot, and then Randy Orton has no chance of being in the world title.
Don't you do it, Randy.
I think he's going to be like, I changed my mind.
We'll see where this ends up going. So overall, I think between the two shows, I think Raw was a little bit more, better of the show this week.
I think so.
Raw's been on a roll lately.
The Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho thing is interesting.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, all that stuff. I'm interested to see what's happening on next Raw.
So a couple little bits before we get off the air here. We are going to skip NXT's recap this week. If you guys are heartbroken, let us know. Leave us a comment on YouTube or on Facebook, or tweet at us at Audio Suplex Live. Let us know if you want us to
continue covering
NXT. We just wanted to get it out so that we could maybe kind of trim the show down to as quickly as possible. We want to get it in and out without an hour or so. If you guys don't mind us going longer and you want your NXT coverage, let us know.
Maybe someday we'll even do a separate segment for NXT stuff.
Yeah.
If that's what it comes down to.
Now, Corey, we actually have something special planned for next week.
Yes.
So do you want to kind of tell them what we're doing
next week? Yeah. Next week, we're going to try something else. Again, we want to know some feedback. So if you guys like what we do next week, definitely let us know. We're going to do a roundtable discussion. So we're going to have Travis, me, and then Sean, who was here for our pay-per-view preview that we did for Elimination Chamber. So he'll be there for most of our pay-per-view shows. He was able to come in, or he's going to be able to come in this upcoming Thursday
to do just kind of like a roundtable. So we're not going to really do any coverage of any of the shows from next week.
Yeah, we're all gonna come up with some questions that maybe we can discuss and kind of go around. So if you have any questions that you'd like us to discuss at a roundtable discussion, again, tweet at us or comment on the videos. And if it's something that we feel like we can discuss, we can definitely use that on future shows for us. So anything that you think would be a good subject, we want to hear about it.
Twitter and Facebook at Audio Suplex Live. You can hit me at XDrTX.
Mike C521.
Heel_Corey on Twitter.
And we thank you for listening as always.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Born down in El Paso, where the tumbleweeds blow, to the middleweight champ of all Mexico. Dad fought many bloody battles, and he raised 4 sons. Chavo was the oldest one. Old man Gory could pop like a live grenade. Raised his boys in the way of the trade. Hector and Mondo, young Eddie G. Chavo meant the most to me.